Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and to further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant based diet going for yourself today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind, and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to Great Days. So today I wanted to talk about application of teachings and application of knowledge that have been harnessed, through various different teachings. So I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna explain exactly what I mean, and I'm gonna get into your experience and help you to understand exactly what teachings are taking place. You know, and I'm gonna get into this a little bit today. So let's get into this. Um, so to begin, once again, we are all learning, right, all the time. This is a constant process that is going on. um, and not only are we learning, we're teaching. So we're always learning and we're always teaching simultaneously, right? This is something that is always going on. um, and then I'm talking about through experience purely, not so much my teaching if I have any, um, but more so just through the experience that is being had, collectively. So you're learning and you're always teaching as well. You're being taught, and you're helping people learn something as well. It's a little system that's going on, um, and this is always going on. You can tune into this system if you can deepen your observation and tune yourself into that little song, that little system that's going on. You can come into a resonation with it, and that's going to allow you to become, or that's going to allow you to get into the music of that, right, of the nature of it. Uh so so the forces of nature are pretty much teaching you. you know um it's not only people teaching people, like, it's not a student teacher relationship that's happening. It's beyond the ego, right? It's beyond the body. There's teachings going on. Nature is teaching the individual, or nature is teaching the collective individuality, or nature is teaching itself, and like that, nature can further develop itself, and it can further evolve, and it can further revolve, as it starts to expand its awareness, as it starts to become self-aware. It can then start accelerating the process of development, right? So there's this process of teaching and learning always going on. And if you kind of come within yourself a little bit more, or you deepen your observation, or you immersify yourself experientially, you're then going to be able to tune into that little song or that little system, right? Whatever you want to call it. It's a song, it's a system, and the song or system I'm talking about is the force of nature teaching you, okay, um, as an individual or even as a collective, right? Which is all of us together, um, or even the forces of nature, kind of teaching itself, or more so expanding itself. Um, well, I don't have the words for that process, right? But I'm gonna continue with what I'm going on right now. And if you tune into that little system through deepening your observation, right, then you can pretty much find this little uh, you can find this system once again that is purely teachings, and these teachings are all coming from higher self, right? The higher self is pretty much the higher you, right? The highest, the uh, the collective consciousness or collective unconsciousness, right? God. Okay, so you can learn from God. You can learn from the collective conscious, the collective unconscious. You can learn from the highest, right? If you just connect yourself with God, connect yourself with the highest, connect yourself with the collective conscious, unconscious, collect yourself, connect yourself, right? But the more that you connect yourself, the more that you strengthen that connection to God, you are going to be able to harness the teachings of God, right? And this is all enabling you to know thyself, right? And knowing thyself is very important because knowing thyself is the path to liberation, and you need liberation in your life due to corrupting factors that have been impregnated into you, you know, into your subconscious in its womb-like nature, right? So you must liberate yourself, and all you have to do is connect yourself with the highest, connect yourself with the collective conscious, collective unconscious, connect yourself with yourself, right? Everything is yourself, though, is what you got to know. And this is a knowing, not an opinion. It's not opinionation, because opinionation is only formed in the lack of experience. And this is a knowing. All is self is a knowing because this has been experienced for eternity, and it's being experienced right now, right? So this is why it's a flowing, it's a river of knowing, and you can kind of connect yourself to God. You can connect yourself to the highest, to the collective conscious and collective unconscious, and you can harness the lessons that is always being downloaded via light into you, into your crystal-like nature, right? So you can then refract them out, refract that light out, reflect that light out that you're encapsulating. And in that refraction of the light that you are encapsulating as a crystal-like body, you can kind of you can project out a purity. The more that you're able to reflect it in its purity, you know. Um, so you can connect yourself literally with the universe, with God, with the collective conscious or unconscious. It's all the same thing, right? This is where people they get caught in turmoil within themselves because it's that very corrupting factor that has impregnated the womb-like nature of the subconscious. Once again, to keep you away from that very connection, which is of a unity consciousness, right? So if you're irradiating unification and there's less resistance in your life and there's more bliss within yourself, and you feel like you're floating all the time, then you're connected with God, and that is God. Okay. But God is not only needing to be called God. God is also the universe. God is also the collective conscious, the collective unconscious. God is the highest. God is the lowest as well. God is everything. So everything you say can be considered God. Don't get it confused, and don't throw yourself into a tantric turmoil or a tantrum turmoil, right? Rather, see it as one of the lessons to be harnessed, right? If you're falling into a turmoil because because of any type of corrupting factors, sit with it and see what can be done relative to what you have previously been taught, right? And see how you can kind of come into a cleansed state, which would be more of a relaxed state, more of a reflective state, of the whole, because the whole is God. So if you're able to reflect God within yourself, you are in the kingdom, right? Which is within you. Okay? So the more that you go within yourself, the more that you come into the kingdom of God. It's very, very simple. Okay? Living outside yourself is distracting, right? Conflicting yourself is keeping you in a bounded state, and boundaries are to be dissolved. This is the whole point of life, to dissolve your boundaries away through whatever experiences are relative to your body's capabilities, right? So dissolve the boundaries, dissolve the ego, because that's inevitable. When you die, the body is going to go away, and the ego or the boundaries are going to dissolve away inevitably. So they don't stay forever. So if it's something that natural that happens inevitably, then it's something that you should be doing within your life every day, right? So dissolve the boundaries. And you can do this through whatever is bringing you to immersification of experience, or just immersify yourself in the experience. And this is one method to dissolve your boundaries away, So there's always teachings going on, because once again, it's like a song being played to us, right? There's just a song going on. If you tune into that song, you can harness the rhythm, and if you start playing in that rhythm, you can literally start dancing with God, right? This is pure poetry, because it comes from observation, comes from experience. Okay, so if you're able to do that, you can harness the lessons that are within that rhythm, right? And if you're able to come into that lesson, you can lessen yourself vibrationally, right? Because you don't want a heavy heart, you don't want to be densified, but you want to lessen yourself, because this is death. When you die, the body is it's shedded. So you're lessened, right? You don't exist in a densified fabrication, this densified fabrication. So your vibrational rate is subtilized, so you're lessening, you lessen, right? So the more that you tune in and harness the various different lessons that are being taught to you by God, you can lessen yourself. You can come into a lightheartedness and the blissfulness and an unconditionality, which is the kingdom, right? Unconditionality, um, and heavy-heartedness can easily be did away with or transmutated, right? The more that you're able to harness various different lessons within the rhythm of existence, right? And non-existence. Okay, so um, and the more that you're able to subtleize your vibrational rate, the more that you can come into higher metaphysical states, which is where you want to be, because you're not supposed to be so dense. This is part of that corrupting factor, the densification, right? And this is why there's so much fear, and this is why there's so much ego in the world. which is all poison, right? But the moment that you're able to lighten your heart, you can break into those subtle energy forms, which are higher lessons. And the more that you're able to harness those higher lessons from God, from the universe, whatever you want to call it, the more that you can come into higher states of self-realization and deeper wisdoms. And these wisdoms are beyond time, because these wisdoms have been realized throughout all times and spaces, you know. So the moment that you come into that wisdom, you're able to transcend the space-time continuum through the wisdom, right? This is because this is the wisdom is shared between the wisdom is the collective, right? By this I mean it is of the collection. It is spirit. The collection is spirit. The collective is spirit, and the wisdom is also spirit, right? This is why wisdom is of a mastered nature, or self mastery. Self wisdom comes with self mastery. You know, usually you have to experience something, and then you have to come to know it. You have to come to understand it enough until it becomes a wisdom to you, right? And if there's wisdom within you, within that individual, then there's also invitation to mastery, you know. So uh it's wisdom is beyond the space-time continuum, right? Because it's something shared. It's awareness. It's something shared, beyond space and time, between species, you know, throughout the entire universe, because it's a way of nature, a force of nature, right? Um, and harnessing the lessons that are being taught to you is one way to come into that higher truth, or a higher awareness, the wisdom in oneself, of a certain state of realization, right? And self-realization is what you really want, because if we don't realize ourselves, if we don't come into self-realization and educate ourselves properly, then we're going to destroy ourselves as a species, you know. So we need to come into self-realization so we can self-educate, and in self-education we can properly do things here on the globe, rather than destroying it and destroying each other, you know, and tarnishing everything and poisoning everything and corrupting even more, and just doing things very wrongly, you know. So you can connect yourself with God to harness the lessons that are being taught to you all the time, eternally, by connecting yourself with the earth. Okay, and this is the simplest method. This is the method that I'm always going to give, because the earth is our mother, right? And you connect yourself with the mother because she has what you need to nourish yourself. Um, and the mother and the mother is the earth, you know, Mother Earth. She is here to nourish you back into health, but you got to listen to her, and you got to connect yourself with her. Otherwise, you're gonna continue poisoning yourself and doing things like this, stupid things, you know, and wasting your time, because you're eternal. So all of that is just unessential, and you're kind of just trivializing the time that you have here, right? Um, which we aren't really. The Earth is just a temporary experience, you know, because we're able to travel from stars to star system to star system. You know, we don't only come from the Earth. This has always been known. Um, so the experience that you have here is to be enjoyed, you know, but you can't really fully enjoy it unless you're completely immersified in it. And heavy heartedness kind of brings you out of full immersification, right? So lightening your heart up, coming into a lightheartedness is one way to deepen your immersification of the experience to be had that is happening. My bad. And then in that you can come into a self-realized state, right? So you're being taught, summarize to summarize up, you're being taught right now. Tune in to what you're being taught, right? It's not only eventfully or event. It's not only in events, like peak events in your life that you're being taught. More so, it's a constant teaching. Even in the valleys and or the troughs, you're being taught as well. You're always being taught, right? So tune into that teaching because it's from God. You're being taught by God. Um, or you can call it self-teaching. You're teaching yourself because all is one self. There's no separate being. There's no other. There's only one self. Okay. And the moment you tune into that teaching, once again, you can come into a deeper state of self-realization. And that's exactly what you want. You want to come into a deeper state of self-realization to saturate and potentify. Okay, not this word. You want to create a more potent experience for yourself, right? So you want a more saturated and you want a more potent experience of life. Otherwise, the experience of life was wasted, right? So in order to do that, you need to connect yourself with the earth to begin, and the earth takes over from there, right? So if you are worrying that you don't know how to do anything that is of an essentiality, then connect yourself with the Mother Earth, right? And she'll nurture yourself. She'll nurture you back right into life, okay? And let her take over from there, and you come into a lightheartedness. And that's exactly the state that you want to be in, a lightheartedness, not a heavy-heartedness, because that's going to keep you in suffering, separateness. That's going to keep you in conflict, turmoil, and disease and sickness, right? You want to get out of all that. You want to transmutate all that into a subtler state, a vibrational rate, right? So take your connection with the earth. It's free, okay? Um, and that's all there is to it. So I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love, and have a great evening.